I have here Leica M-P 240 and I want to share with you my experience after buying this Leica and a bunch of lenses and what happened to my Leica, what problems I had and what results I have and how I like shooting this Leica. So my story with the Leica M-P 240 is like this. I've decided to sell my X100V and some of my small cameras in the waiting for the Fujifilm X100VI. But in the meantime, looking at how much money I had by selling my Fujifilm X100V and XF10 and Lumix LX100, I've decided, well, wait a minute, I can buy a Leica camera, and I always wanted to buy a Leica camera. So, long story short, the best budget Leica camera that you can buy right now, it is the Leica M-P 240. And why is that? Because Leica M10 has, of course, a bigger price, and Leica M240, it has the red dot, and I didn't want the red dot. I'm really liking this matte finish. It is very invisible, this Leica, and also has a better buffer, so I have a better continuous shooting. So overall, you get very good specs on this camera. The only downside compared to M10 from my point of view, it is the sensor is not the latest sensor, but man, the colors, what this sensor is doing, it is crazy good. It's not a sensor that will offer you very good results in low light environments, so you need to use light. But other than that, if you know photography and if you use light or a bright lens with f1.4 apertures, f1.2, f0.95, because this could be a reason to buy Leica, this sensor will shine. So overall, my first impressions. When I touched this Leica and I've opened it, it really was an amazing experience. It really felt different from many other cameras. So a premium experience, and the camera in hand is feeling really premium. And it's not just that it's inviting you to shoot this camera. This camera, it's regarding ergonomics, build quality and how it's operating, sound, simplicity, it's a joy to use. It's a wonderful camera to use. So overall, my shooting experience with this Leica, it's amazing. Now, another thing regarding the shooting experience are the frame lines. The frame lines are very exact frame lines. It's not like on X Pro 3. Fujifilm X Pro 3, it's behind the frame lines of this Leica M-P 240. So overall, really enjoying this camera. But before telling you the goodies of this camera, I want to share with you my problems, because I had some problems with this camera, and I want to tell you what are the problems that you might have when buying a Leica camera and how to be prepared to bypass those problems and not have them ideally. So first of all, after buying the Leica M-P 240, my first problem was that I've got from time to time a black frame. So it was a very short shutter sound, like the shutter wasn't taking the picture entirely, and it was a black frame with just some information there. The black frame didn't have enough megapixels, so it has just some few kilobytes. So it was very strange for me. I've asked on the forums, I asked on the Facebook, I've also asked Leica, and the advices from some users was to send the Leica back because it means it has a shutter problem and so on. My Leica shutter count when I bought it, it was 3000. And the Leica support answered me pretty fast, and they've told me, check if this doesn't happen when you have a low battery in your Leica, and check the lenses, and from time to time our cameras are making these problems. So anyway, searching and searching, I found and I've discovered what is the problem or what can cause this black frame problem. And after making these settings, I didn't have any problems like this. So first of all, yes, it happened when I had a low battery juice in my Leica. So at 5%, 10%, even 20%, this happened. It was happening like at 300 frames, I've got a black frame. So a big problem. I didn't want to have this on me because I've also missed some decisive moments shots. So assure you have full battery. Next, and I think this is one of the main problem here that is causing the black frame, is use a SanDisk card. It's very, very important to use a compatible SanDisk card. So this is the card that I'm using, and I really don't have any problems with this card. And it's very important because when I've used other cards like Kingston cards, I had this problem. The next thing that caused this problem is that you must set the lens in your camera menu. So when you are putting a lens, yes, the camera has a way to detect the lens, but it's ideal to set your lens, even if it's not the exact lens, because the Leica M-P 240 and probably the other Leicas don't have the Voigtlander lenses in the menu system, but you must set a focal length to the lens that you are using. And after doing this, so setting the focal length and using the SanDisk card, I didn't have any other black frame problem. So all was resolved, and I was very thrilled that all was working fine. So this was one of my problems, and I'm glad that I didn't send the camera back, and I've discovered what settings I must do to have my camera work very nice. Now I needed lenses for the camera, and I'll show you what lenses I have and what happened with one of my lenses and how to verify that a lens, it's a good lens for your Leica system before putting it on the camera. So let me show you my lenses now. This is Voigtlander 35mm f2.4. It's a great, amazing lens that is making from your camera a compact camera like an X106 camera, and the bokeh of this lens, it is us, or even better, the Fujifilm lens. Of course, it's an f2.4, and this is bothering me in low light and indoors. So I'm eyeing another great lens that I hope to show you in the future. But for the moment, this is one of the lenses that I own and use and bought after buying the Leica. Of course, I wanted a great lens for my full frame system because it's a full frame system, and I wanted at least at an f1.4 50mm lens. And the next lens that I'm using, it is the TT Artisan 50mm f1.4, a great amazing lens that I've reviewed. The only downside with this lens, it is that it's a bit on the heavy side. So it has around 450 grams, but this package with this, it's very okay in your camera bag. Very, very okay, you can do it, but it's at the limit, so I can't add another lens. But if I want a more lighter package with a very nice lens that has lots of character that I love, I truly love the character of this lens. This lens, it is the Jupiter 50mm f1.5 lens, an M39 mount. So I'm using an adapter with this lens. This lens, it was serviced and it's acting like new. Really loving how it was serviced by a passionate and a professional. And it's working great on my Leica M-P 240, and it's making from this camera a very light and easy to use camera system. And I made a review of this lens and also of this lens. Link in the cards and in the comments and description. So overall, my package, it is very light, like a Fuji X-T5 in my camera bag, depending on the lenses that I'm choosing. Now, before buying my Leica system and these lenses, I had the 7 Artisan 35mm f2 lens. This lens, it's a very good lens, I would say, for the price and for the size. Of course, it has some problems and I'm not liking it how it's rendering in low light, but when you have good light, you get really nice results. So a great small compact lens that I've calibrated myself, and the calibration worked. You calibrate the lens and you don't touch your Leica. And now this is my Ju lens, a lens that I don't think lots of people are realizing how good it is, and the price, it's very good because it's an original Leica lens, that it's an amazing 50mm lens at f2.4. It's a Summaron lens, and even if it's an f2.4, it is a very small lens. It's incredibly small. Look how small it is. This is the metal lens hood of the lens, a very nice piece of engineering. Also, the aperture clicks are amazing. You have a sound when you are getting to f2.4 or f16. Amazing operation, amazing image quality. It's a modern lens, sharp like crazy, sharp like crazy, with a focusing tab that unfortunately it was discontinued by Leica, probably because it was very cheap compared to the Summicron lenses. So this lens, it's one of the greatest lenses because, how I've said, it's very sharp for street photography, for day-to-day photography, but also for portraits at f2.4. You can't believe what you can get with this lens at f2.4. When I'm shooting this lens at f2.4 and looking at the bokeh, you could say that it's an f1.4 aperture lens. The bokeh, it is so smooth, so buttery smooth. So I really do understand now why the Leica lenses are so praised. So the bokeh, it is very buttery smooth when you will get close to make a portrait. So a great portraiture lens, a great documentary lens, a great street photography lens. But of course it has one problem in low light because it's an f2.4 lens. And on an old sensor in low light, you are at the limit with this lens. And you need to use at least an f1.4 lens. But how I've said, I have this for low light environments. Now, I had a problem with this lens. I've bought it from eBay from an unknown seller that was selling it pretty cheap compared to the prices that are online. And he wanted, via private messaging, to sell it outside of eBay. So I wouldn't have any buyer protection. I've said to this guy, okay, I want eBay buyer protection, even if I had to pay 100 euros more. And I'm really glad that I did this because I had some problems. So I've bought this lens at around 700 euros or 800 euros, something like this, with transportation. And when I've mounted the lens on my Leica camera, my rangefinder broke. I was desperate. So being very desperate, I was thinking what to do. I knew that in my town, I have a very good camera service here, Camera Work, that were repairing all kinds of cameras, including Leica cameras. And I've called them and I've told them my problem, and I was, of course, really stressed because we are talking here about some money and some other costs, and the only alternatives when looking online on the YouTube channels were to send the Leica camera to the Leica factory and get it repaired there. But for my luck, these guys are very good and knew to repair my Leica rangefinder. And when I go to them, they showed me that the Leica Summaron 50mm f2.4 had some mount problems. It wasn't staying straight on the Leica M mount camera. So when I mounted this lens, it wasn't staying straight. Without mounting it before, he showed me how to look. It's hard for me to show you how to look. But anyway, it wasn't straight, it was wobbling. And also looking at the screws, you are able to see that somebody messed with the screws. So the lens had problems, and my guess is that because of this mount and the lens problems, my rangefinder broke. Anyway, long story short, they were able to repair it, my Leica camera, and also my lens. Also, you are able to see here that here it's a bump. I don't know what happened with the lens. The lens, it's a new lens. It's a new lens. 2000 and something like this. So why somebody opened it, why somebody worked at it, I really don't know. But anyway, the guys were able to repair my Leica, repair my rangefinder, repair the lens, and all it's working great and without problems. So finally, after having all these problems, I had the chance to enjoy my Leica. So this is what happened to my Leica, and my advices are like this. Please be sure to have in your city a very good rangefinder Leica guy that knows to repair Leica, especially an authorized guy or a very professional company that knows to look at your Leica. Check how the lenses are staying on your Leica camera, and be sure to get buyer protection when you are buying from eBay. The problem wasn't just this lens and the money that I've paid on the lens. The problem was of course bigger because my Leica wasn't functioning. But the final ending was a happy ending. So after knowing to use my Leica and after paying so much on the Leica M body and the Leica M lenses, what is my opinion? Does it deserve the money? Does it deserve the trouble? Well, my advice is that yes, it deserves the money. The way that you are shooting this Leica, the way that this Leica is transporting you in thinking about your image, the way that the images are looking, and I've showed to you just Leica images, it's something out of this world. It's something way, way better than any other camera, or way, way different. Let's say like this. Let's say it's not better, because better, it's a subjective feeling in the end. It's way different and it's way nicer. You really get something there. You really feel that you are the painter. You really feel that you are in control. You really feel that you are making the picture and not taking the picture. It's really, really different. And it's not just the experience different, because this experience can be mimicked on Fujifilm X Pro 3. I do agree with this. Regarding the experience, you can be pretty close with Fujifilm X Pro 3. But the Leica M system, it's taking you to the next level. It's taking you to enjoy the process, but also enjoy the final images without question. The quality of the images, because of the lens, because of the full frame sensor, and because of the magic of this Leica M-P 240, is something out of this world. The vivid profile of this camera, it is crazy. It is crazy. Of course, it's burning sun colors, but how it looks crazy good. You have black and white simulations, you have a soft simulation, and also the standard simulation. It's out of this world. The JPEGs are very, very good. So indifferently of how you choose to shoot this Leica, that also is shooting raw DNG files that are very easy to edit in Lightroom and to keep the colors where you want, is something really, really nice. Of course, it may have some problems that some photographers will not like it will render a little reddish tones for the skin tone. But it's not a problem in the end. I can adjust the red channel, I can get the portrait where I want it, and I'm really liking it in the end, JPEG and RAW files, and especially for black and white. So overall, this is my experience in shooting the Leica system. After having all these problems, I really do love the Leica system. I really am glad that I've decided to buy it and to use it. I really do recommend, if you want something else, if you want a magical camera, a camera that will blow your mind, this is the Leica camera. All other cameras are great cameras, are doing the stuff that they are meant to do, but this, it's taking you to the next level. You don't pay just a premium price to get a Leica logo. No, no. You really get amazing top-notch image quality, amazing top-notch lenses, the Leica lenses, the Voigtlander lenses, and the TT Artisan lenses and other third-party lenses. All are rendering on the rangefinder sensor, amazing painterly images, sharpness, but also blooming, highlights, and all kinds of effects that you can get in camera, but also when editing the raw files. So the joy that you will have with the Leica from A to Z, it is at another level. And starting with the Leica M-P 240, it's a great, great thing, because the Leica is now at the Leica M11, and they are evolving and they are evolving, and you can go at M10, M10R and so on after the pricing are getting it a little lower. But this is another advantage. The Leica prices aren't changing too much. So if you pay this money in a Leica camera or in a Leica lens, please be assured that you'll not lose money. In the end, with this lens, I've made double the profit that I've paid on my repairing of the Leica and of the lens. So I've made at least $700 profit by repairing the lens and my camera, even with this problem, because the seller probably this why was selling the lens so cheap, because he knew the lens had problems. So overall I've made a profit in the end, and this lens and the value of this lens will raise over time, because people will start to understand the miracle of what this lens is. And also the Leica body, it's not dropping in prices, so it's a system where you don't lose your money. This is very important. I can sell this over 1 year or probably over 2 years, and I will not lose much, or probably I will even win more. And more than a Fujifilm camera, it's a very reliable camera and a camera that can be serviced. It's very important. I can service this camera, I can repair it, and I can make it like new with my service from my hometown or with, in the end, the Leica service. And this is important, especially with other electronics. When they are broken, you just take them and throw them away. This isn't the case with a Leica camera. So yes, I'm really loving to shoot a Leica camera for many, many reasons. And one of the last reasons that I want to address here are the lenses. I can mount so many rangefinder lenses, all lenses that will render great, beautiful image quality on a full frame sensor. If I will put those rangefinder lenses like Canon 50mm f1.2 rangefinder lens on a APS-C sensor, I will lose all the magic of that lens. I can put it on my Leica camera and I get all the experience, the rangefinder experience and the full frame image quality of that lens. Crazy good results, no compromises. And the manual focusing system of this rangefinder and patch finder, it's really, really great. You really don't have problems, but also I really must address something here that it's very, very important. So all is great, all is great, all is great, but what you can do with an f1.2 lens or f0.95, you can't focus exactly on the rangefinder. You have an EVF attachment, but you don't need the EVF attachment. This old camera that also it's taking video files, amazing, great looking video files. It has a punch-in zoom option. So when I'm zooming any rangefinder lens, because it's feeling the rangefinder is moving, it will punch in zoom. So I can easily use my LCD Sapphire screen that doesn't scratch with punch-in zoom at 100% or even more. So I can acquire focus very easily and exactly with the screen. I don't need the EVF attachment. I really don't need it. So what more can I say? The battery is lasting and lasting and lasting. Oh, it's really, really great. The sound, the mechanical shutter sound of this camera, it is crazy good. It's a pleasure to use. If you think your Leica camera, it's your dream camera, but you aren't yet decided because of the critics that are online, because of the problems and all the tidbits that I've shared here, I'm telling you, forget all this and get your dream camera, because if you'll pass all these problems, you'll really get very, very much joy and great images with top-notch image quality. Top-notch image quality without compromises. So, these are my thoughts on my experience with the Leica M-P 240. Tell me what are your thoughts, subscribe to my channel, give it a like, leave me your comments, and be sure to subscribe to my newsletter if you aren't subscribed for more photography tips and tricks, because you are able to see how I'm doing photography here, and I will share with you in my newsletter photography tips and tricks. And if you want to watch my next video, please be sure to watch my next video that is appearing on the screen right now. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.